The rain fell heavily on New Seoul's spaceport, creating rivers between the massive ships that stood like steel mountains against the dark sky. Hae-yeon pressed herself tighter against the cold metal wall of Loading Bay 7, trying to stay dry. Her skin, usually glowing a soft blue, had dimmed to barely a flicker, a sign of her exhaustion and hunger. She hadn't eaten in 2 days. Finding work at the spaceport was getting harder. Most ship captains took one look at her luminescent skin and turned her away. No aliens, they would say, or sometimes worse things. Hae-yeon understood their fear. Her people, the Nixians, were refugees. Nobody trusted refugees. A loud clang made her jump. The loading bay door was opening. Hae-yeon scrambled to her feet, ready to run. She had learned the hard way that getting caught in the wrong place could mean trouble with the spaceport security. "Hey, what are you doing back there?" The voice wasn't angry, just surprised. Hae-yeon turned to see a human man standing in the doorway. He was tall, wearing a pilot's jacket that had seen better days. His black hair was messy, and he carried a bag of what smelled like hot food. "I'm sorry," Hae-yeon said, backing away. Her universal translator clicked as it processed her words into standard Earth language. "I'll leave now." The man tilted his head, looking at her glowing skin and the way she shivered in her thin clothes. "Wait," he said. "You're soaking wet. And when was the last time you ate something?" Hae-yeon stayed quiet. In her experience, humans who asked questions usually wanted something in return. But this human felt different to her empathic senses. There was no fear, no hatred, just a warm concern that reminded her of home, before the Empire came. "I'm Do-hyun," the man said, holding up the food bag. "I bought too much dinner. Would you like to share?" Hae-yeon's stomach growled loudly, making Do-hyun smile. "That sounds like a yes to me. Come inside. It's warm and dry." Against her better judgment, Hae-yeon followed him into the ship. The cargo hold was clean and organized, with crates stacked neatly against the walls. Do-hyun led her to a small break room where a heater hummed softly. "Sit," he said, pointing to a chair. "Let me get you a towel first." As Do-hyun walked away, Hae-yeon studied the room. There were pictures on the wall. Do-hyun with a young woman who looked like his sister, both of them smiling. Another showed an older couple, probably his parents. Family pictures. Hae-yeon's chest tightened as she remembered her own family photos, lost when they fled their planet. Do-hyun returned with a thick towel and began unpacking the food. "It's just simple stuff. Rice, soup, and some grilled meat. I hope you can eat human food." "Yes," Hae-yeon said quietly. "Our species can eat most human food." She wrapped the towel around her shoulders, feeling its warmth. "Why are you helping me?" Do-hyun paused while setting out the containers. "Because you needed help." He said it like it was the most natural thing in the world. "I've seen you around the spaceport before. You're looking for work, right?" Hae-yeon nodded, carefully accepting the bowl of hot soup he offered. The warm smell made her mouth water. "Well, as it happens, I need a cargo assistant," Do-hyun said. "My last one quit last week. The job's yours if you want it. Includes a room on the ship, 3 meals a day, and fair pay." Hae-yeon's spoon stopped halfway to her mouth. You would hire me. But I'm a hard worker who needs a chance." Do-hyun finished for her. "That's all I need to know. Everything else we can figure out as we go." Hae-yeon's skin brightened slightly, her natural glow responding to her rising hope. "You're not worried about hiring a Nixian?" Do-hyun shrugged. "Should I be? Look, I've been flying cargo runs for 5 years. Met all kinds of people. Humans, aliens, good ones, bad ones. I've learned to trust my gut about people. You're just trying to survive, same as anyone else." As they ate, Do-hyun told her about his cargo runs, mostly legal shipments between Earth colonies, nothing dangerous. He had a license for everything, he assured her, which meant she wouldn't have to worry about trouble with authorities. "My sister Jayak comes on board sometimes," he mentioned. She's studying to be a doctor. Always excited to learn about different species biology. She'll probably ask you a million questions when she meets you. The idea of someone being interested in her biology out of genuine curiosity rather than fear was strange to Hyun. I would like that, she said softly. After dinner, Do-hyun showed her to a small but clean cabin. It's not much, he said, but it's yours if you want the job. Take the night to think about it. No pressure. Hyun looked around the room. At the bed with its thick blanket, the small window showing the rainy spaceport, the lock on the inside of the door. A safe place to sleep. A chance at honest work. It seemed too good to be true. Why did your last assistant really quit? She asked. Do-hyun laughed. Because I wake up too early and sing old Earth songs badly while I work. That's the honest truth. Hyun's empathic senses confirmed he wasn't lying. For the first time in months, she felt her bioluminescence brighten with genuine amusement. I can handle bad singing, she said. Then welcome aboard, Do-hyun replied with a warm smile. Get some rest. Tomorrow, I'll show you how everything works. That night, lying in a real bed for the first time since she'd arrived on Earth, Hyun thought about how quickly life could change. This morning, she had been a homeless refugee. Now she had a job, a room, and maybe something else. The way Do-hyun treated her, with simple kindness, like she was just another person, it reminded her of something she'd almost forgotten. It reminded her of what it felt like to be part of a family. Her skin glowed softly in the dark room, not with fear or exhaustion this time, but with something that felt a lot like hope. The first week aboard Do-hyun's cargo ship went by quickly. Hyun learned that her new boss wasn't joking about the bad singing. He really did love to sing old Earth songs while working. But she didn't mind. The cheerful noise was better than the lonely silence she had known for so long. Do-hyun was a patient teacher. He showed her how to check cargo manifests, operate the loading equipment, and handle basic ship maintenance. Always double-check the seals, he would say, pointing to the cargo container locks. One loose seal means angry customers. Hyun's favorite part was learning about the ship's navigation system. Do-hyun taught her how to plot courses between stars, accounting for space traffic and weather patterns. Her natural ability to sense energy fields made her especially good at detecting problems with the ship's engines. You're a natural, Do-hyun said one morning, watching her correctly identify a failing power coupling. How did you know it was going bad? I can feel it, Hyun explained, her skin glowing slightly brighter with pride. The energy flow is uneven, like music that doesn't sound right. That afternoon, Do-hyun's sister Jae visited the ship. She was shorter than her brother, but had the same kind eyes. The moment she saw Hyun, her face lit up with excitement. Do-hyun told me about you, Jae said, barely containing her enthusiasm. Is it true that Nixian bioluminescence responds to emotional states? How does it work? Can you control it? Jae, Do-hyun warned. Let her breathe. Hyun found herself smiling. It's okay. Yes, our glow changes with our emotions. Happy or excited means brighter. Sad or scared means dimmer. We can control it a little, but it's like trying not to smile when you're happy. Jae took notes on her tablet, asking more questions about Nixian biology. Hyun was surprised to find herself enjoying the conversation. Jae's curiosity wasn't scary or clinical. She genuinely wanted to understand. Life fell into a comfortable routine. During the day, Hyun helped Do-hyun with cargo runs. In the evenings, she often joined him and Jae for dinner. They taught her about human foods and customs, and she told them about her homeland. But one day, everything changed. It started like any other morning. They were preparing for a big delivery, medical supplies worth more credits than Hyun had ever seen. Do-hyun was checking the manifest while Hyun secured the containers. Then the port authority officers arrived. We received a tip, the lead officer said. Someone reported seeing suspicious activity around this ship. We need to check everything. Heyun's glow dimmed with fear as the officers began their search. She had seen this before. Refugees being blamed for crimes they didn't commit. Would Do-hyun believe her when they accused her? The officers found nothing in the cargo hold, but then one of them shouted from the storage room, "Captain, you need to see this." Hidden behind some equipment, they found a broken container. Medical supplies worth thousands of credits were missing. The lead officer turned to Heyun, his face hard. "We know you're kind. Refugees will do anything for money. Where did you hide the stolen goods?" Heyun's voice shook. "I didn't take anything. I wouldn't." "She's telling the truth." Do-hyun stepped between Heyun and the officers. "I trust her completely, and I can prove she's innocent." "How?" the officer demanded. Do-hyun smiled. "Because I installed security cameras last month. Let's review the footage together." The security videos showed everything. Late at night, 2 dock workers had broken into the ship. They thought they had disabled all the cameras, but Do-hyun had hidden backup units. "I installed them after the last theft attempt," he explained. "Looks like these guys have been stealing from multiple ships." The officers arrested the real thieves, but Heyun couldn't stop shaking. Do-hyun found her in the cargo hold, her skin barely glowing at all. "Hey," he said softly, "it's over. You're safe." "You believed me," Heyun whispered. "Even when they accused me, you stood up for me. Why?" "Because you're part of my crew now," Do-hyun said simply. "And I protect my people." Jaya arrived an hour later with hot drinks and snacks. "I came as soon as I heard," she said, hugging Heyun. "Those thieves won't bother anyone again." As they sat together, drinking sweet earth tea and talking about nothing important, Heyun felt something inside her change. Her glow, which had been dim for so long, began to brighten. "Your light," Jaya noticed. "It's different now. Steadier." Heyun nodded. "Because I feel safe. Really safe, for the first time since leaving home." Do-hyun smiled. "Good. That's how it should be. Now, who wants to help me organize the new security footage? I have about 50 hours of me singing that we should probably delete." That made Heyun laugh, her glow pulsing brighter with each giggle. Jia joined in, and soon all 3 of them were laughing together. Later that night, Heyun stood in front of her cabin mirror, watching her steady glow. Among her people, a steady light meant being at peace, being where you belonged. She had thought she would never feel that way again after losing her home. But maybe she was starting to realize home wasn't just about a place. Maybe it was about finding people who believed in you, who stood by you when things got hard. People who made you feel safe enough to shine. The next morning, when Do-hyun started singing his terrible earth songs while loading cargo, Heyun surprised him by singing along. She didn't know all the words. But that didn't matter. What mattered was that for the first time in years, she felt like she might belong somewhere again. Her glow, bright and steady, lit up the cargo hold like a small star, full of hope. 3 months had passed since Heyun joined Do-hyun's crew. The spaceport was busy preparing for Seoul, the Korean New Year. Colorful lanterns hung between the ships, and the air smelled of holiday foods. "You have to come celebrate with us," Jaya told Heyun while they sorted medical supplies. "Our parents always make too much food anyway." Heyun's glow flickered nervously. "Your parents? I don't know. They want to meet you," Do-hyun said from where he was checking the ship's systems. "I've told them all about how you saved our engine last week." Heyun remembered that day. She had sensed something wrong with the power core just before it failed. Her quick warning had prevented an expensive breakdown. But what if they don't like having an alien at their celebration? Then they'll have to deal with it, Jaya said firmly. "Your family now." Family. The word made Heyun's chest feel warm. But before she could answer, a wave of dizziness hit her. Her glow dimmed suddenly, and she had to grab a shelf to stay standing. Hyun. Do-hyun was at her side instantly. What's wrong? Just tired, she said, but her voice sounded weak. Her skin had turned a pale, sickly color. Jaya, with her medical training, checked Hyun's temperature. You're burning up. This isn't normal tiredness. They helped Hyun to her bed. Her whole body ached, and her usually bright glow had faded to almost nothing. Jia began researching Nixian illnesses on her medical tablet, while Do-hyun tried to make Hyun comfortable. I think it's light fade, Hyun whispered. It happens sometimes to our people when we're far from home. Our bodies need certain minerals from our planet's soil. Without them, her voice trailed off as another wave of pain hit her. Do-hyun squeezed her hand. Tell us what you need. We'll find it. Over the next few days, Jia and Do-hyun worked tirelessly to help Hyun. Jia contacted every medical database she could find, learning everything about Nixian physiology. Do-hyun used his shipping contacts to search for the minerals Hyun needed. They took turns sitting with her, making sure she wasn't alone. Do-hyun told her funny stories about his worst cargo runs. Jia read to her from Earth books, explaining human stories and customs. Even in her fever, Hyun felt their care surrounding her like a warm blanket. No one had looked after her like this since she lost her own family. On the fourth day, when Hyun was at her worst, Do-hyun and Jaya's parents arrived at the ship. They had come early for Seoul after hearing their children's worried calls. Hyun tried to sit up when they entered her room, but she was too weak. Her glow was barely visible now. Rest, child, Do-hyun's mother said gently. She carried a bowl of soup that smelled different from earth food. We found someone who knew the recipe for Nixian healing broth. It took all day to make, but it should help. Hyun's eyes widened. The smell brought back memories of her childhood, of being sick and her own mother making the same soup. How did you? We contacted the Nixian community in New Busan, Do-hyun's father explained. They were happy to help when we told them you were part of our family. Family. There was that word again. Hyun looked at these humans who had worked so hard to help her. Do-hyun with dark circles under his eyes from staying up all night to watch over her. Jia still studying medical texts, and now their parents bringing healing food from her own culture. The soup helped. Over the next few days, Hyun's strength returned. Her glow began to brighten again, especially when Do-hyun announced he had found a supplier for the minerals she needed. We'll make sure you never run out again, he promised. And Jaya is working on a way to process them into something easier to take. Like vitamins, Jaya said excitedly. Earth humans take them all the time. Why shouldn't Nixians have their own? A week later, Hyun was well enough to join the Seoul celebrations. She sat at the family table, wearing new clothes Do-hyun's mother had bought for her. It was tradition, they said, to wear new clothes for the new year. She watched as they performed traditional bows to honor their ancestors. Do-hyun's mother had set an extra place at the ancestors' table, explaining that it was for Hyun's family too. They are part of our family now, she said simply. All ancestors are honored here. Hyun learned to play traditional Korean games. She wasn't very good at Yutnori, but she loved the way everyone cheered for her when she finally won a round. Do-hyun's father taught her how to write New Year's wishes in Korean characters, helping her shape the unfamiliar letters. That night, her glow was brighter than ever, reflecting off the holiday decorations and filling the room with soft light. Jia said it made everything look magical. You know, Do-hyun said as they watched the New Year's fireworks together, when I found you in that loading bay, I just thought you needed a job. I didn't know we needed you too. Hyun looked at him in surprise. You needed me? Of course, Jaya joined in. Who else would catch engine problems before they happen? Or help me understand alien biology? Or make mom and dad finally learn about other cultures? Or put up with my singing? Do-hyun added with a grin. Hyun's glow pulsed with happiness. She understood now what humans meant when they talked about family. It wasn't just about blood or species. It was about the people who stayed with you when you were sick, who learned to make your favorite foods, who celebrated your victories and supported you through hard times. It was about belonging. As the fireworks painted the sky in brilliant colors, Hei-yun realized she wasn't watching them alone anymore. She was watching them with her family, her very human, very wonderful family. And her steady, bright glow lit the way home. The peaceful days aboard Do-hyun's ship ended when the emergency broadcast interrupted their usual morning routine. Hei-yun was checking cargo manifests when the screen flashed red. "Emergency alert," the announcer said. "The Kalori Empire has entered the outer reaches of Earth space. All citizens should remain calm and await further instructions." Hei-yun's glow dimmed to almost nothing. The Kalori Empire, the same ones who had driven her people from their home. Do-hyun found her staring at the screen, shaking. "Hei-yun," he asked softly, "what do we need to do?" She looked at him, surprised by the "we." "You don't understand," she whispered. "The Kalori, they're the ones who destroyed my homeworld. They'll do the same here. They always do." Do-hyun called Ji-ah, who arrived within minutes. Together, they listened as Hei-yun explained how the Kalori operated. They would seem peaceful at first, offering trade deals and technology. Then they would slowly take control, until one day they would simply take everything. "They've done this to 3 worlds already," Hei-yun said. "My people tried to warn others, but nobody listened. That's why the Kalori attacked us first, to silence us." Jaya squeezed her hand. "Then we'll make them listen this time." The next day, Hei-yun found herself in front of the Earth Defense Council. Do-hyun and his entire family stood with her as she told her story. She explained the Kalori's tactics, their weaknesses, and how they had destroyed her world. Her voice shook at first, but every time she faltered, she felt Do-hyun's encouraging presence beside her. Ji-ah had helped her prepare her speech, making sure every detail was clear. Their parents sat in the audience, nodding supportively. "The Kalori ships have a weakness," Hei-yun explained, her glow steady now. "Their energy shields can't handle sudden temperature changes. My people discovered this, but we learned it too late. If Earth's defense forces know this, they can protect themselves." The council members whispered among themselves. One stood up, looking stern. "Why should we trust the word of a refugee? For all we know, you could be helping the Kalori spy on us." Hei-yun's glow dimmed, but before she could respond, Do-hyun stepped forward. "Because she's family," he said firmly. "My family. And Hei-yun has proven herself trustworthy every single day since I met her. She could have kept quiet, stayed safe. Instead, she's risking everything to help protect Earth." Jaya joined in. "I've studied Nixian biology. Their bioluminescence cannot lie. It responds to their true emotions." Hei-yun's glow shows she's telling the truth. One by one, other refugees in the audience stood up. They had similar stories about the Kalori. Hei-yun's warning had given them courage to speak too. The council voted to take action. They would strengthen Earth's defenses using Hei-yun's information. But there was still danger. "The Kalori will know I talked," Hei-yun said later, back on the ship. "They'll come after me." "Let them try," Do-hyun said. His voice was quiet but firm. "You're not alone anymore." That night, Do-hyun's parents came to the ship with important news. "We've been thinking," his mother said. "In Korean tradition, family names are very important. We would be honored if you would take our family name, Hei-yun, legally as our daughter." Hei-yun's glow pulsed so brightly it lit up the whole room. "You want to adopt me?" "Only if you want to," Do-hyun's father said gently. "But you are already our daughter in our hearts. This would just make it official." Tears rolled down Hei-yun's face, making her bioluminescence shimmer like stars on water. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, please." The adoption ceremony was small but meaningful. Hei-yun wore traditional Korean hanbok, altered slightly to complement her natural glow. As she bowed to her new parents, Her light created beautiful patterns on the silk. In our family, Do-hyun's mother said, we have a tradition. Each child receives a special gift when they officially join the family. She handed Hae-hyun a small box. Inside was a delicate silver necklace. The pendant was shaped like a small glowing star. Because you light up our lives, Jayat explained, helping her put it on. 2 weeks later, Earth's defense forces stopped the Kalori invasion before it could begin. Hae-hyun's information had been crucial. The Kalori ships retreated, their plans exposed and their weaknesses known. Life slowly returned to normal. Hae-hyun still helped Do-hyun with cargo runs, but now she also worked with Earth's defense forces, teaching them about other alien species and helping refugee families like her own. One evening, as they all sat together for dinner, Hae-hyun looked around at her family. Do-hyun was telling another bad joke. Jae was explaining her latest medical research. Their parents were arguing lovingly about whose turn it was to cook tomorrow. Normal family things, human things, things she had thought she would never have again. Her glow, steady and bright, reflected off her star necklace. The light caught Do-hyun's attention. Happy? He asked with a smile. More than happy, Hae-hyun replied. I'm home. Because that's what family meant, she had learned. It meant having a home that wasn't just a place, but a feeling. It meant having people who would stand with you against anything. It meant belonging somewhere so completely that even your light shone brighter. And as she sat there, surrounded by her very human, very wonderful family, Hae-hyun's glow lit up the room like a small sun, full of love and belonging.